So I have a bit of a follow-up story which is superbly interesting, and it is also something that's going to explain to you guys why the government ethics office is extremely important and key. So if you guys recall, we talked about yesterday about how Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is the press secretary for President Trump, called Jemele Hill, saying that Trump is a white supremacist, a fireable offense. Now, you know, my opinion when it comes to firing people in media, it's I would make it pretty lenient. The only areas where I would say you can't is just because of someone's skin color or sexual identity or anything like that. Now, here's something interesting, okay? Did Sarah Huckabee Sanders break the law? There's this great article because of somebody who was formerly of the Government Ethics Office. But here's what Raw Story states, okay? They say, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was in dubious legal territory on Wednesday when she essentially called for ESPN host Jemele Hill to be fired, according to former Office of Government Ethics Director Walter Shaub. Hill recently called President Donald Trump a white supremacist in a tweet, which Sanders describes as a fireable offense. So this is what Walter Shaub said. He was formerly in the Office of Government Ethics. He states, interesting law on the books. So there is this law here that is on the books. Now this is called the wrongfully influencing a private entity's employment decisions by a member of Congress or an officer or employee of the legislative or executive branch. So basically what this says is, and they're going to go on to talk about that, is that you can't, as either an officer or part of Congress or part of the legislative or executive branch, an appointee, you can't influence a private company to fire somebody based on partisan lines. Now, the reason that there's this kind of loophole, unfortunately, is that it's kind of a loophole because it's not partisan, even though I would say that it is, because obviously it is partisan because of the party lines and what they believe. Now, here's what they go on to say. They say, this law essentially states certain government employees, including the president, VP, and any other executive branch employee, which she is, are prohibited from influencing the employment decisions or practices of a private entity such as ESPN, quote, solely on the basis of partisan political affiliation. So this is pretty well, first of all, let me tell you what the punishment for this is. It says, breaking this law can lead to a fine or imprisonment up to 15 years, possibly both, and could lead to disqualification from, quote, holding any office or honor, trust, or profit under the United States. So, unfortunately, obviously, this isn't going to go through, but I think that she did break that here. And here is why they have this law. It's pretty obvious, right? When you have government agencies, and you are, or just generally speaking, having those positions, you have massive influencing power. Now, you can partisanly based, partisanly aligned, you can then use your influence and your power to destruct and just destroy the lives of other people who are opposing you based on, you know, politics and political things. So you shouldn't be able to get people fired because of, you know, they're a Democrat and you're a president, you're a Republican, and you want them fired because they're a critic of you. So this is something that's very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Support independent progressive media by leaving a subscription down below, leave a like and share the video, help us out on Patreon, or you can donate in other ways. Links are in the description down below. We are fighting Trump tooth and nail, and we will continue to do so with your help.